Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Please stay and enjoy. So in this channel, we primarily talk about Manchester United content, but also some footballing content if I feel like it and if I think is relevant. But in general, we'll just be talking about Ruben Amorim and what I think he should stay in the role, and just giving you kind of my opinion, my takes, and for my reasons why I think the way I do. So obviously with Ruben Amorim, there's been so much slander. If you're looking at Manchester United's record, which I have pulled up here, um, we've played a total amount of games of 46. So we played 46 games. And well, at least in the Premier League, we played 30 games. And we've only won 8. We've only won 8 games out of 30, which is insane. I think for any Premier League manager, if you were to only win 8 games out of your first 30, you would be sacked. And so, of all clubs, why does Manchester United insist on keeping Ruben Amorim, right? And here's my take, right? Because first of all, I don't think. First of all, he has the credentials, right? I mean, he went to Sporting. Obviously, he's a relatively pretty young manager, still starting out in his career, but he went to Sporting. The first season he came in, he won the league title with them. He knows how to clear out a club. He knows how to implement his ideas. And yes, the Portuguese league isn't as good as the Premier League. And we kind of saw this in the Club World Cup, where the two best Portuguese teams, some of the best at least, they didn't perform all that well against teams that we thought they should beat. So I think the stocks of the Portuguese league has definitely gone down. Probably the lowest it's ever been, in my opinion. Because when Mourinho was there, I thought, obviously Porto's up there, but I digress. The Portuguese league isn't the Premier League, and the Premier League isn't the Portuguese league. But to still go to a league and your first season to win a title and then to win it again right afterwards, it says a lot about a manager. It says that his ideas work in football in general. So we brought him to Manchester United, and we had our first game against Ipswich, I believe, and we drew 1-1. It was okay, whatever. We're hoping to keep building on that, trying to see if we can nick some wins. And honestly, the wins just never came. Like, we won a couple games here and there, but that's it. And then eventually started to focus on the Europa League. And we ended up finishing 15th last season. And that's a totally sad season that was. But yet, he remained in his job. And for me, okay, I think people talk about switching out the manager. Okay, if we change the manager, something good would happen. But again, like, when you think about it, what have we been doing the past 10 years, 10 to 12 years? What have we been doing, right? If we bring in a manager, they don't perform well, we switch them out, and then we hope for the same thing all over again. They don't perform well, we switch them out. We get some good patch of performances, but it's never consistent. We switch them out. Jose Mourinho, he won trophies, but it wasn't consistent. So eventually everything started to fall apart, and we switched him out. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he came in. He was all about vibes and free-flowing attacking football. And for a minute, that worked. And at one point, we were in 3 semifinals at the same time. And we just never made it to a final. And that's fine. And then came to next season, and then we fell off, and we just started playing badly. So it just wasn't consistent. And so Ruben Amorim obviously came in. And, well, I'm not even going to get started in Ten Hag. Ten Hag was... his first game, I think we lost, 4-0, I think, against Brentford. And then he gave some discipline, implemented some discipline, but a big talk of Ten Hag was that we didn't have the structure, or not the structure, we didn't have the identity that a team wanted, right? That we wanted in our team. We didn't have the identity. So we brought in a manager with some identity. And so now that we brought him in, it's all about, okay, the structure doesn't work, identity, this and that. There's no structure in the team, but okay. And then they're saying, oh, he should change the structure because it's not working. But then, the manager before that, we were calling for a manager with structure. We're not, a manager that constantly has to change the structure because it's not working. That's not what we want. Okay, that's what we think we want, but that's not what we want, right? Ruben Amorim has structure. I think he needs time to implement it. I think. So my second point, I think it's unjust to blame Ruben Amorim for are bad performances and bad culture. I guess no one's blaming him for the bad culture. I think everyone knows that that's just kind of how it's been at United, and it's been going down ever since. But to blame these bad string of performances, lack of aggression, lack of intensity, lack of desire from the players, and in our mindset, lack of mentality on Ruben Amorim is just wrong, and his structure solely is just wrong. When you have a club that has been mismanaged for literally since Alex Ferguson left, right? Where we had no structure within the club. We had no identity. We had no plan to move forward within the club. So when you have a team that's like that, you can't expect, it's never going to get better. It doesn't matter who you bring in. Even if it does get better momentarily, it's not consistent. If you want consistent greatness within a club, look at Real Madrid. Barcelona is one of them clubs until recently, but they've started to build it back up. Liverpool now, City now, right? Ever since City got bought by oil money, I mean, they've had an idea, they've had a structure within the club, an identity, something that they want to move forward with, right, and stick to. And they've hired specific managers that play this type of style that they want to be seen at City, right? And so United just never had that until Jim Ratcliffe came in. Once he came in, then we started to see, we started hiring competent people, Dan Ashworth, Alma Barada. We started hiring competent people in specific areas in order to help build that structure, create a long-term plan, right, for the club. So I think the reason for our bad performances is more so due to the last 10 years rather than Ruben Amorim being the coach that he is, right? And to blame it on him solely, I think is completely wrong. I think it's unfair to Ruben. And that's my reason for thinking why he should stay, right? Right. That's my reason for thinking he should stay at the club, because now more than ever, after a long time, we have a structure, and to sack Ruben Amorim so early is to go back on that structure you set for the club, and it'll just be repeating past mistakes. I've seen a lot of YouTubers say he needs to go, he needs to get sacked. Okay, to see them saying it's naive to think that he can turn this around. I think it's naive to think that bringing in another manager would change anything, especially for long term, right? Maybe in the moment it'll get better, but in my opinion, it'll never get good enough to win the major trophies we want to win. Champions League, Premier League, it'll never be that good because our success will never be that consistent unless we bring in, unless we stick to the structure. Now, I think having Ruben Amorim in here and at Manchester United will, I'm not saying he's a guy that will take us to the Premier League. He's a guy that will take us to the Champions League. We'll win all these trophies. It's crazy that I'm even talking about Champions League, considering that we're not even in any European competitions this season. So maybe it's a little arrogant for me, but I'm a United fan, so you got to be arrogant. Anyway, we're also better than Arsenal fans. I digress. But I think it's extremely naive to think that getting rid of Ruben Amorim right now would be net beneficial for our club. And I think, again, like I said, I'm not saying Ruben Amorim is the one that'll take us to all these titles, but I do think that having a manager in there who can implement their ideas, right, bring in players that fit their style of play, and we've seen it with Ruben Amorim where like he's trying to change the culture within the club. It's not just about the play style. It's not just about the structure. He's trying to change the culture itself, the mentality of the players, and I think that's overall net positive. And even if that's all he ends up achieving within the next 3 to 5 years, right? If he stays that long, which I hope he does, because he needs that much time and maybe more. But if that's what he ends up achieving, I think we'll be closer to long-term success than we would be if we just switch out a manager, bring in one, and then hope for the best again, right? So that's my overall take. I do think that obviously there's a lot of talk there about Ruben Amorim needing to get sacked, and this isn't just coming from a high of us beating Chelsea. I mean, before Chelsea, after Chelsea, I'm gonna say the same thing. He needs to stay in the club because I think the difference between us this season and last season is huge. I mean, don't be mistaken. Like, we're only 5 games into the season. Yes, we have 7 points. Same with City, but we're still only 5 games into the season. I think there's still more time. We've also played pretty tough opposition as well, so that's something to consider too. And so I think the team needs time to grow, needs time to build. I'm not saying that his system is perfect as well. That's not the case. But I think he's also growing as a manager. And I think with time, this team will get better. He'll get better. And again, even if he's not the one to take us to these titles, I think he'll bring us a lot closer. But that's my take. Let me know what your take is in the comments below. Feel free to leave a like and give me a subscribe. Our goal is to hit 500 subscribers by the end of the year. So hopefully we can get that. But thanks for watching and peace.